How is everybody doing on a Saturday evening? All right. Thought I'd start out today with a funk jam. That bad boy down for a minute. Whew. All righty. There we go. Okie dokie. Who do we have here today? We have Danielle Funk, one of my mods in chat. What's up, Danielle? Got Silent Walk, Truth Unveiled. Got Rob Gunn. Robert Freedom Fall. Kevin Cretan. Sailing the Honey Badger. HOODIE. Just to name a few. All right. So, hopefully I'm coming in crystal clear and clean. Fingers crossed. I bought a Wi-Fi extender. I spent $100 on like one of the good, supposedly good Wi-Fi extenders. So I'm hoping, fingers crossed, that I'm coming in crystal clear. Because we've had serious connectivity problems. And I'm thinking if I just boosted my Wi-Fi, boosted the shit out of it, that hopefully it would help. Fingers crossed. And if everything goes smooth, then I'll do more streams over on the asshole channel. But the last several that I did, there was tons of interference and connectivity issues. And I know the Wi-Fi here at the office isn't the greatest, so I figured I would attempt to solve the problem myself. But I heard that these Wi-Fi extenders don't do a whole hell of a lot unless you buy like an expensive one. And so I went ahead and bought one, and hopefully it's working. All right. So people are starting to come on in. I thought we would have a fun stream where we make fun of some NASA shit and talk about some of these actors that they have on board currently on the International Space Station. And also a professional Hollywood actor, Tom Cruise. He announced like what 2 years ago that he's supposed to go to the International Space Station. Yeah, how's that gonna work? And so I've been waiting on that. Like when's Tom Cruise gonna go? And I actually went and looked up an article and found a little bit of information, but it still hasn't happened yet, and they aren't giving any like firm dates. And so what I found was pretty interesting. Apparently, they're going to attach a, a space station studio for shooting Hollywood movies and streaming, attach a new studio to the existing ISS. Bet you didn't know that. Bet you didn't know that that's what they're going to fake do. That's right. So you have the original fake station. They're going to launch up a movie studio and connect it. Yeah. We'll get more into that. We'll get more into that. I want to go ahead and let some of the numbers build up for a minute. So before we get started, you guys, we haven't done this in a while. Figure we could, I don't know, maybe start with a ceremonial toskishi of the bolskishi to give ourselves some good karma and some good chi from the internet connectivity gods, if there is such a thing. So you guys know what to do. Smash that thumbs up button. Let's at least get up to like 30 likes to get us started. It's a good number. Let's start with 30 and we'll work our way up. All right. I'm starting to run low. I need to go buy some new smoke. I mean, I have plenty of old shit, but I don't want to smoke old shit. All the old stuff that I grew is old and gross, and I don't even want it anymore. I've actually thrown out like some of my bags that some of you guys would probably want. Like, I don't want this old bag of shit. I throw it out. And then I think, man, there's people around the world who are probably hard up who would probably take that. But they aren't here. Whatever. All right. All right, you guys ready? I see exactly 30. Man, you guys follow directions well. All right. Up 31 thumbs up. All right. Now, if you got it, pack it up. If you don't smoke, just sit there and twiddle your thumbs for just like a minute. All right. And away we go. All right. Bring in the good karma for the stream. Bring in that good chi, that extra good cheese. Faith says, sorry I'm late. Just got done making dinner. Yeah, you better be sorry, Faith. Don't ever let it happen again. Otherwise, you know what'll happen. Nothing. Nothing will happen because I'm just kidding. All right. You just got here, Faith. You didn't miss anything. I jammed on the bass for like 2-3 minutes, showed off for a few minutes, and then we sat down and took a toke. So that's what we just did. In fact, there's just a tiny bit left in there. Looks like we're going to take another one. All right. Just so no one knows. Haha. Now it smells gross in here. That was the plan all along. All right. Trippy Walnut says, ripping it. That's right. Truth Unveiled says, eat glass, eat silica. Does that work out well for you when you do that? Does it make you feel extra good? Sorry, Rusty. I didn't mean to spray that much. It was mostly a joke. I sprayed that shit and Rusty's not digging it. All right. Now, you know what I do eat though? See, I don't eat silica or glass that I know of. I mean, maybe I do without knowing it. Fuck. But what I do eat, so I was just snacking on some meat right here. See, I got a chunk of meat. So this is a New York steak that I've been snacking on. And coming up here later, I might just give this bone, which has some meat left on it, to Rusty. We might just do that later. And I'm pretty sure he's already staring at it right now. But we like to get down on some raw meat. Don't we, Rusty? See, so we'll get down on some raw meat. Come on. Come here, Rusty. You want to eat some meat? Come on. Come on. Come here. Come on. Ugh. All right. There's my beautiful doogie. Yeah, give me some meat. Give me some meat. Ah, nom, 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 nom. Yeah. See? We get down on the raw meat. Oh, you want the bone? You want this bone? Oh, he wants that bone. Oh, we'll save that for later. We'll save that for towards the end of the stream. I'll give him the bone. All right. Here, Rusty. I'm gonna do the stream, and then we'll have you come back and eat that bone as a crescendo later on. So make sure you stick around if you want to see Rusty get this bone, because he's gonna get it later. But you got to stick around for the crescendo. He's like, I want it now. I want that bone now. All right. All right, people finally filling in here. Let me grab me a little piece real quick before we get started. All right. Now, of course, I do this to show everybody I am no shill. I am the real deal. I eat raw beef. I look pretty good, feel pretty good. Can't say for sure, I have the perfect diet or anything, but I do say that if you eat raw meat, drink some raw milk, it probably will make you feel good. Of course, a lot more people are getting used to the idea of raw carnivore primal diet, so it doesn't get the same effect as it used to. If I eat 2, 3 years ago, if I was to whip out some raw meat and eat it, people were like, "What are you doing?" But now it's like on the internet, there's hundreds of channels eating the raw meat and primal diet, so it ain't nothing that crazy as you would think. Miss Peach, you're telling me it's sick and that I'll get worms. Well, that's not true. See, if you're just going to say stuff that's not true, see, I don't think it's sick. I think it has a good beef flavor. In fact, surprisingly, I've noticed that the New York, when raw, will be a little almost more flavorful even than a filet mignon, which is a more expensive cut of meat. And my audience has seen me eat raw meat many times. There's a lot of misconceptions about eating raw meat, but it's actually good for you as long as we're talking about beef. Because with chicken or pork, it can depend where you get it from and the source and whatnot. I don't want to vouch for some cheap ass grocery store chicken that might not be the best, but I've seen people eat chicken raw. I personally like the taste of cooked chicken, and same with pork. I just like the taste of cooked pork. But when it comes to beef, I'm really into just eating it raw. So I'm not the type of guy that eats every single thing raw. But when it comes to beef, I'm a big advocate of getting that raw animal fat into your system, getting the actual protein in the raw form into your system. So a lot of times you'll see me quickly take a few bites of raw meat, promote raw meat, just to show you guys that I'm not here to sell you any sort of chemicals or any sort of products that's gonna damage your body. Instead, I'm gonna go the opposite route and tell you that if you have some health issues, if the vegan diet isn't working for you, if being a vegetarian isn't working for you, or if you feel there's just something missing from your health, give some raw beef a go. Oh, and lamb's good too. Lamb is really good too. All right. So that's enough meat talk. I was actually going to talk about space and then I got sidetracked with this piece of meat. All right. So before we get sidetracked with all this meat talk, who saw my last video? How many of you guys saw my last video about the ISS? I posted it over here on the backup channel. Uh, as you guys know, that the asshole channel is shadow banned. So I've been trying to post some more stuff over here now and try and build this channel up. All right, got people chiming in saying they saw it. Good, good. So what they're doing now, their new favorite thing to do, it seems at the moment, if you're keeping up to date with the ISS, they have like a private crew, supposedly a private crew of astronauts up there with the regular ISS crew, and so there's a lot of people up there. I don't know the exact number, but it's like 12. It's around a dozen. And so on screen at once, when they do their events, as they call them, they always will answer questions that come in and play with objects. Now they're shoving 11 people up on the screen. And it's clear that a few of them look like they're just stitched in as like CGI layers, guys who don't even really interact with the crew in proper time. And so this is a new thing that they're trying to slip past people. Like, okay, can we shoot this scene with astronaut A, and then shoot this other scene with astronaut B, and then astronaut C, and then collage them and stitch them together with layers and make it look like they're all together. Like the beginning to the Brady Bunch. There's a few people that made the Brady Bunch comment where they're looking up and down at each other. Ah, eh, eh. There you are over there. So now they can have them film their part. Like there was one guy over to the left, and he was in a t-shirt and shorts. It's hilarious. He's in t-shirt and shorts, and he's just like, for like 10 straight minutes. Doesn't float. He doesn't go floating anywhere. He's just like on the space station like this. At one point, he turns his head. So they squish 11 astronauts, naughty astros, onto the screen, and each one has to stay in their little designated location. Like, don't go too far to the left, you'll run into the astronaut next to you. And don't go too far that way, you'll fade off screen. All right, so what you got to do now, or no, left that way, right that way, excuse me. So what you got to do now is just stay in your own little designated area, all right? So that you don't accidentally bump into anybody or go through anyone and cause glitching. So now you got each guy able to just hover in their own little zone. It's like, aren't you supposed to be free floating? Woo! They have complete control now. So I would figure if you're free falling, if you were free falling, shouldn't you be like this all the time? Woo! Whoa! 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 Oh shit! Ah! Whoa! Fuck! Whoa! Shouldn't you always be like flappity? A little more flappity, right? Whoa! Trying to always gain your equilibrium. Shouldn't you be trying to always gain your equilibrium? But instead, they're becoming like statues now. You're like, this is it. This is all you got to do. And I noticed it's like they're using these CGI overlays over their hands. They might even be using them over their face. Hell, do we even know that these are real people? A few people in the comment section pointed out that these might not even be real humans. These might even be CGI humans. And when you look at the one female up there in the ISS, it's like this regular, non-facial distinction, hardly detailed girl person that could be CGI. It's like it might not even be a real person. The minute somebody brought up that these might not be real people, I'm like, totally, they totally might not be real people. So we have to like take into consideration that you can like have a not real person, as in like you can just make a fake person with CGI now. Yeah, that's a thing. If you don't know that's a thing, it is. You can make a fake person with CGI and then put them up there. So you can have them on somebody else's body moving around, but then just stick someone else's face on someone else's body. Shit, man, they can do a lot of stuff. And it's like they purposely make the filming shitty quality for that reason, I think. So if you look at the filming quality, it's like what, like 180p or some shit. It's like they don't even have any HD or 4K footage going on. No, you can't do that out in space. It's too far away. No, it has to be shitty and blurry. And their hands and the way they hold themselves is just so unnatural. That's the first thing I see. Bullshit aside, they just don't look natural. If that's what it was you're really in space. They've been up there for 20 years doing the same shit. Not this crew particularly, but NASA in general has been up there for like 20 years in space in their space station. They shouldn't be so enthralled about like passing the microphone around and hugging each other and being all happy and twisting and turning objects all the time. It shouldn't be about that anymore. But it's still all about that. Hi, you're on the space station. I'm on the space station too. I want to hug you. Welcome to the space station. All right, now here we're ready to do our event. Ugh. Oh, I'm gonna be one of the upside down ones today. I'm gonna be this way today. Hi, I'm one of the upside down astronauts today. Holy shit! I'm gonna totally eat shit if I try and go upside down without wires. It's probably not a good idea that I try and go upside down without wires, right? Fucking be like, hi. What? Oh. Shit. Uh, People are gonna be like, fake. He totally fake Phil. No, I was trying to clown around, and that's a real fall. That's an actual blooper. But it's a nice padded chair, so I'm okay. Good thing Rusty wasn't behind me. Everyone's safe. All right. A bunch of laughing emojis in chat. Good times. If I can get hip and with the times, I could totally like add in the ISS background behind me when I do these clips, so it'll be much more believable. One of these days, I'm gonna get hip and with the times, and I'm gonna totally like do all the stuff that I don't really know how to do. All right. Oh, I have a list of shit here that I wanted to mention about the ISS, and I almost forgot about it. I was just riffing, and I actually had written down some ideas. Tons of people on screen. Okay, I got that one. Unnatural body language. Okay, I got that one. Oh yeah, everyone is happy all the time. No bad days or freakouts. Let's talk about that. Don't you like have a day where you wake up and you just like are having a bad day, whatever? You had a bad day and like you don't want to go to work. You call in sick even though you're not sick, whatever. You're just not feeling it. Like, or for instance, when I'm here in this office for too long, I'm like, I gotta get the hell out of here. If I'm behind a computer screen too long, I'm like, dude, I gotta go outside. Screw YouTube, screw the world. Me and Rusty are gonna just take a few days off, whatever, right? On the ISS, you can't do that. You can't just like escape at any point, right? So, what are you going to do? Like, if you have a bad day on the ISS, but there is no bad days. Apparently, on the ISS, everyone is just always in a state of bliss. They're in a state of just constant happiness. Ah, look, we're here in space. We're floating objects. Whoa. Whoa. Can't wait to do this tomorrow again. And everyone's always like fresh and clean. Apparently, the men have a vacuum shaver and they vacuum shave their face every day, and the vacuum catches all the little hair particles just perfect. It's a vacuum shaver. So all the men stay perfectly shaven and clean, and they have this like shower. It's like a vacuum shower. You just wash your crotch with a cloth with a vacuum shower shit, and everything just they look perfect. They look as if they have taken 2 showers a day on Earth and had their clothes dry cleaned. On space, everything's just perfectly clean. You shove 12 people in essentially like a jumbo jet, right? So imagine like a jumbo jet or a bus or a couple buses put together, right? And you're going to stick like 12 people up there, and everyone's going to use this space porta potty. I don't know if you guys seen it. They have like a space porta potty. And the question is asked, where do they sleep? They actually have padded cribs. If you Google it, I'm not lying. This is what they say. This is, of course, what they say. And I'm not like making this up. They have padded cribs, and then they wear this pad and like a helmet with pad, and you just sleep in like a big roll of pad, so that when you float around in your crib, you don't hit your head and hurt yourself in your sleep. Google it. Open up a side window and Google how do astronauts sleep in space, and then go to the images. And what are you gonna see? You're gonna see motherfuckers with pad all over their body in like a padded crib, like right. They're sleeping in their little padded crib, rolled up like a little padded burrito, keeping their heads safe at night so that they don't accidentally float up and clonk their head on their crib wall. That's just one of the many stupid things that they do, that they claim to do. I think most everyone's favorite is that the Americans drink recycled pee pee. So they pee into this like vacuum system that takes the pee and turns it into fresh drinking water. I think they still do that. Let me make sure that they still do that. Do Aster not. I gotta spell it right. Still drink pee. Astronauts have been drinking recycled urine aboard the ISS since 2009. However, this new toilet makes the process much more efficient and comfortable. They drink pee. Hey, Rose Bellman's in the chat. Hey, Heidi Ho, how's it going, yo? Andy RB says hi, Jake. Hi, Andy. How's it going? PJC Nets is all stuck together like that. They would be at each other's throats sometimes. They wouldn't always be happy. Yeah. So my point being is like nobody has a bad day. Like I said, there's times where I just have to get out of this audio or this office and go take a walk outside, like be outdoors. And not just because I have a dog, just being in the office or whatever. And so I would figure that there would be times that if you really were stuck inside of this prison cell up in space, up in the vacuum, that it would make you freak out that you couldn't go home. You couldn't just go to sleep in your regular bed, that you couldn't see your family or your friends or anyone, that you're on there with basically uh, your workmates all the time, and constantly doing these events where you have to be on camera. So if you're going to be an astronaut, you also have to be comfortable with being on camera a lot. See, that's something most people wouldn't think, that like, oh yeah, he was a great guy when it came to science and performing all the astronaut tasks and jet packing around. But he didn't like being on camera, so he couldn't be an astronaut. You have to be comfortable on camera. Yeah, you have to really enjoy twiddling shit in front of a camera, and you have to really be amused by it. You have to love being on camera. Otherwise, you're probably not cut out for being an astronaut. So imagine all the people who wanted to be astronauts, who went through all the schooling necessary, but they didn't make the cut. It's because they didn't enjoy being on camera. Their acting skills weren't up to par. Speaking of acting skills, it's like, are they trying to get caught? Do they want us to criticize them? They don't really choose the best actors. I mean, they don't choose the worst actors in the world per se, but they don't choose the best either. And so here's my thing: if Hollywood looks better than the ISS, well, what does that say? And so if NASA and SpaceX aren't trying to make it look as real as Hollywood, for instance, like the movie Gravity with Sandra Bullock and the other douche. Like that movie looks better than current 2022 footage of the ISS, right? The movie Gravity looks better than what we see today on the International Space Station. So they purposely make it look worse than what Hollywood does. So they have the ability, if they wanted to make it look as good as Hollywood does, but they purposely do this like downgraded, shitty flea market version of the International Space Station. And so I wonder why they don't just go full throttle Hollywood style and why they dumb it down. Is it because they don't want the sheep to think, hey, this looks exactly like a movie? That's the only thing I can think is they don't want sheep to think it's just like a movie. They want them to distinguish, oh, the one that looks kind of shitty and boring looking is is real. And then the perfect looking one, the Hollywood movie, yeah, that one's fake and fantasy. So that's the only thing I can think why they would purposely dumb it down and make it less quality than a full on Hollywood production, if that makes sense. Fusion Density says Hollywood looks way better than NASA footage. That's what I'm saying. There's a number of space movies that look fantastic. And see, they could have gotten away with so much more, even like this shit that they're doing on the space station. It's like, the sheep would have believed that you could just pressurize a room like on Star Trek or whatever, right? Or in Star Wars. Like you just pressurize a room and with anti-gravity. Just come up with some bullshit and people would believe it. And then you wouldn't have to do this floating crap. So to me, they're milking this floating thing. And then the hair, they always want the chick's hair to stand up. And a lot of people in the comments section make the same comment, like your hair would just be constantly waving in all directions, downward, sideways, upward, as if it was like in a pool, for instance, right? It should be flowing like all over. It shouldn't be like woo, as if it was hairsprayed upward. And so they're still pulling these old tricks, and they could have eliminated it. I mean, they could come out tomorrow and be like, scientists discovered how to pressurize and anti-gravityize a room. So now the astronauts no longer float. They can just walk around. So we solved that. And everyone would be like, oh, cool. So eventually they have to go ahead and get rid of the floating thing. I would figure. I'm surprised they're still even using the floating thing. So when they get rid of the floating thing, they're going to come up with some sort of like, oh, we figured out how to pressurize and anti-gravityize the room. It's very scientific. And if you disagree with any of it or you're skeptical of any of it, then you're stupid and you deserve to be ridiculed. Your family should disown you. And you should live alone and be friendless and unhappy. Faith says SpaceX makes it all look fake. Well, you could say that they're no better than NASA. They've done some stuff that looks slightly better than NASA, and then they've done some stuff that's hokey. I personally think the rockets landing back onto the launch pad is stupid looking. every single time. Whenever I see a rocket land back on the pad like that, it just looks ridiculous to me. Right. Spider-Man says they are going on camera. All people that go on camera have a makeup artist. Yeah, but they look too good. If you lived on essentially a tour bus, right, for or a jumbo jet, you live inside there for like a week, 2 weeks, and all you have are these like rags to clean yourself in suction devices. You're not taking like legitimate showers and baths. Um, I don't know. I can't buy it. That every and then your clothes, everyone's clothes always looks immaculate. And I would think over the years, it's an old craft by now. It should be like getting a little musty and dusty as it is. So just seems to be a little extra clean to me. And what is always extra clean typically? Well, movie sets. Truth Unveiled says, Jake, you aging backwards. Yeah, I get that a lot. The secret for me is to shave the hair off my face. So that's A. And then B, dye my gray hairs back to brown. That's it. That's my secret. Oh, and then eat fairly decent. Try and take care of yourself and eat fairly decent. So I dye my gray hairs and then I shave. That's pretty much it that I can think of. And then I eat some raw meat and drink some raw milk. Maybe it's the raw meat and raw milk and the raw eggs that help keep my skin looking good. Or maybe I'm just freaking lucky. Some say I'm just freaking lucky because I stood there while people coughed directly in my face and I lived to tell the tale. Back, when the boogeyman disease in 2020 was taken over, I said it's not real. And I stood there in the face of the boogeyman disease, had people cough directly in my face. And guess what? Fine. Totally nothing ever happened. So, guess you could say I'm just extra lucky. Dr. E. Vale says, Jake looks like my weed guy. Your weed guy looks like this. See, I have one of these faces that like I kind of look like several different people. Oh, Rose Bellman coming through with a super chat donation says, please do any impersonation that Andy RB would like. Okay, so you're giving me a super chat to do a impersonation. So Andy RB, what impersonation? And make sure you know it's one that I know, of course. So what impersonation would you like me to do? And any sort of like maybe little premise. She says it's got to be Elmo. Elmo of all. Okay.
Elmo was wondering when Tom Cruise is going to be on the ISS. Elmo wants to see Tom Cruise on the ISS. Elmo wants to see Tom Cruise jumping up and down. Andy, would you like to come over to Elmo's house and have a tea party with Elmo? You're taking too long to answer. Don't piss me off. You don't want to see what happens when Elmo gets mad. She says yes. Andy and Elmo are going to have a tea party for two on Sesame Street.
All right. Sounds like a fun date. Imagine, ladies, there's a few ladies it looks like in chat. You show up to a blind date with a fella and you've been texting and it's your first time meeting. And then he's like,
Hi, how are you?
you're like, oh, haha, good Elmo impression. He's like,
What are you talking about? This is how I talk all the time. So what are you thinking about ordering for dinner? I'm thinking about having the salmon.
that'd be creepy, right? Or maybe you would like that. See, by me creating this scenario, I just got some laughing emojis to show up in the chat. All right, thank you for the donation. I appreciate that. And as you guys know, if you want me to do an on-the-fly impersonation, the super chat is the quickest way to get me to drop whatever I'm doing and do that. So I could be in the middle of telling a story, but if you come with the super chat and then you say, for instance, you want to see Richie from Boston, or you want to, or how you want to see Arnold, whichever one that you want to see, you of course say which one you want in the super chat, and there's a good chance that I'll get to it and give it a go. All right. And basically an impressionist for hire. Some have even said when it comes to some of these people that I imitate that I do a better impression than those people themselves. Mama Lula says, ha 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 ha, back to the stories. All right. What was I saying? La, 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 la. Oh, here's a good one. Don't want to forget. In the ISS, the recent footage had a dude in a t-shirt and shorts. So they had most of the crew in jumpsuits. And then they had like a couple of them in like clothing like they just got back from like a European soccer match. And then there's one dude in like a striped t-shirt and like some jean shorts. And he's the one who was just like, just chilling. And I got to thinking, how can like part of the crew be all like in this jumpsuit and then one guy's in like regular civilian clothes? Like, do they let you wear anything? So they like part of the crew chooses to wear the jumpsuit, and the other part of the crew gets to just wear whatever stupid crap they want. And you're telling me that the temperature is just perfect? So it's like 72 degrees always, and then the oxygen levels coming in so you can breathe and you don't pass out and die. Always perfect, never fail. So check this out. The temperature in the ISS, always awesome. Never too hot, never too cold. Just always perfect. You can just whip out your jean shorts and a tank top. Doesn't matter. Or wear a full-on jumpsuit. It's all good. It's like a perfect 70 degrees, man. Slight breeze. Everyone's fresh and clean all the time and happy. It's a freaking utopia. It is a utopia within a tin can. Imagine being stuck in a tin can with a dozen people or more. Everyone's super fresh and clean all the time, always happy. No one has a bad day ever. And you don't ever want to go outside and see the sun. You just go out to the window and look at the sun. It's always nighttime, right? So you can see the sun, but it's not actually daytime inside the, right? So it's always like you see the sun out there, but it's also in space, right? How does that work? Or if you see the sun, is it like daylight inside there? Hmm. So they always got perfect conditions. What I'm getting at, think of what it would take in space where anything can go wrong at any time. Everything's perfect all the time. If there's like a hole that gets busted in, you just plug it with your thumb, boop, stick your finger in the hole, it's fixed. Everything's fine. Anytime you like open up one portion and another rocket comes up with something and you do the docking, like everything's fine. No, nothing goes wrong. It works all the time. See, stuff here on the ground breaks down and you need technicians to fix it, right? Stuff as simple as like an escalator will just like stop and become stairs. And you need somebody to work on it to like become an escalator again. But in space, everything's works damn good all the time. Everyone's fresh, clean. It's constant, like 70 degrees is perfect. You just wear your shorts. You just like break out your like thongs and your shorts in a freaking tank top. And now apparently you don't float around free floating. You just basically hang out like this. There you go. It's easy. Mama Lula says, "Hey Jake, you still on Facebook? I've been free for a year now. People still act like d bags there. I only use it to post links to my videos, so it's basically non-active. Like I don't really post any personal stuff on there. I just take my video links from here on YouTube and shove them over there. And Facebook doesn't like when you do that. So hardly anyone interacts with it. I used to get a ton of interactions when I would post on Facebook. And then over the years, I noticed that they cut that off. And now if I post a link for one of these videos, like I posted this link now, I'm lucky if like 5 people hit the like button. And I've got like 3,000 friends or whatever, if you call them that. But yeah, it's not good. It's like all these websites are basically just there to take your information and watch over you. And I've accepted that we're being watched all the time and our information's being stolen all the time. And so there's no way for me to like do what I do without having a social media presence of some kind. And I'm pretty much a slacker when it comes to all the other forms of social media. So they're all controlled. They're all run by the man. Um, all right, we'll get back to the ISS. I'm actually surprised the ISS isn't more of a main focus because to me it's like the most easiest to debunk. It's like it looks super fake. I feel like you could wake up more people if you came at them with ISS is debunked info and the glitches and the screw ups. Uh, if you came at people with the ISS stuff rather than like the Earth being flat, I think that they're more likely to listen. And it's pretty easy to see for anyone who has even like 1 or 2 brain cells left that are actually working correctly. You should be able to see how unnatural and stupid looking everyone looks. Eh. So I'm surprised that we don't use the International Space Station more. You don't see more truthers going after the International Space Station. So I try and visit the space station as far as being a topic that I debunk. I try and like hit that topic every so often just to make sure people still know it's bullshit and they're still doing the same bullshit. Shoving maybe a few more people on screen, but it's the same bullshit. And so if they're going to be doing these simple ISS tricks with layers and CGI and shoving 11 people on screen, having them all pretend that they're there together. They're making it fairly easy to call out. So my guess is more people would wake up if you show them this fake space footage, or at least they wouldn't think you're as crazy if you show them this, because sheeple don't watch it. Like that last ISS video, hardly anybody watched it. It didn't get millions of views on mainstream media or anything. So not that many people sit and watch an entire space station interview or an entire ISS event. So if you actually go to the NASA video channel, it's called NASA Video. You can watch the full length events that they do, and you'll get the up to date 2022 version. It's not that good. It's not that good. There's stuff that I've seen them do in the past that looks better than the stuff that they're releasing now. So it's not like they're trying their best to make it as believable as possible. So since they're not trying their best to make it look as believable as possible, and there are glitches and there are errors, you can essentially get people to possibly wake up by showing them the ISS glitches and the ISS screw ups, the bloopers. You can get the wheels turning in their head at least. And if you go over some of these things that I talked about, how the temperature is always perfect, no one ever freaks out about being up there, everyone's always smiling, they're always playing with objects. Now, that sort of stuff isn't proof that it's fake, but there's plenty of glitches and anomalies that are proof that it's fake. And if you make a compelling argument, like I try to make when I talk about the ISS, I think your chances of breaking through with somebody, getting somebody to actually listen to you, is far greater than if you go too far into conspiracy land, as far as like uh, the Earth being flat. Once you go there, then people will stop listening to you. So what you got to do is almost lead them to the topic through space being fake, rather than try and just shove the shape of the Earth not being what they think it is down their throat right away. So if I was going to start some sort of a group, I noticed a group that isn't really out there that could possibly garner some attention and cause some waves would be like an anti-ISS group, the ISS is fake group. Um, so I've actually thought about that, like starting some sort of simple anti-space group that focuses on one thing that's nice and easy and provable and isn't gate kept into oblivion. So the International Space Station right now doesn't have this team of gatekeepers in front of it the same way that the flat earth topic does. So that's why it's like the long answer of why I like to make an ISS video from time to time, talk about it fairly regularly, is because to me it's one of the most obvious uh, fakery, bullshit manipulations of the mind that's going on right now, and it's the most childlike. Right? It seems it's like watching a magician at the local fair. Like it's something that you should be able to instantly, when you see it, be like, these guys. This is a deception. This is trickery. You should be able to uh, identify this fakery, this trickery, this deception. You should be able to identify it immediately. And I think more people would wake up if they just saw it. I don't think enough people are actually watching the shit that they think they believe in. So a guy like me who doesn't believe in it watches way more space footage than somebody who believes in it. That's the problem. I'm up against people who don't actually watch International Space Station footage, who think they know what's going on up there. So, in order to get through to those people, you got to actually show it to them. All right. So now we'll get to one of the main events of the stream. Tom Cruise is supposed to go to the ISS and film a movie. And I heard that 2 years ago. Have you guys heard that Tom Cruise is supposed to go to the International Space Station? Let me know in the comment section if you've heard that Tom Cruise is supposed to go to the space station. Make sure you're still with me. Rob Gunn says, I heard you mention it, Jake. Andy R&B says, I have. William Bologna says, nope. Anna says, didn't know. Spider-Man says, I have not until now. Ah, okay, so good. So some people yes, some people no. Tom Cruise is supposed to go to the International Space Station and film a movie. And so I was wondering how they're going to do this. And I heard this first in 2020. And then the boogeyman disease took over. And that was all we heard about. And so I wonder whatever happened with the Tom Cruise thing. And so I just looked up some information and I found back in January, February, they released a little bit of info. And I'll go ahead and just read a little bit of it. All right. It says the film industry is quite literally reaching new heights with the forthcoming launch of the world's first entertainment studio and multi-purpose arena in space. Elena and Dmitry Lesnevsky, producers on an upcoming Tom Cruise movie set in space, announced on Thursday that they signed a deal to build a fully operational movie studio connected to the International Space Station. The 20-foot wide studio, dubbed Space Entertainment Enterprise 1, is slated to launch December 2024 and will be the world's first functional entertainment and content studio in space. Wow. Okay, so think about that. They're saying that they're going to attach a studio to the existing space station. And so they're going to have a studio specifically for shooting movies and television in space. So they're making it an effort to include shooting fictional movies and scripted television shows on a space station where it should be all about, doing experiments and exploring space, and it should be all about science, right? Well, now they're going to blend the lines of science and entertainment as if they haven't been blended already. And now they're just going to straight up build a movie studio on the International Space Station, is what they're saying. All right. So you guys are probably wondering how that's going to work. How are they going to do that? All right. So it says that this movie studio is going to be developed in partnership with Houston-based space infrastructure developer Axiom Space, the company behind the world's first commercial space station, Axiom Space Station. Once it's ready for launch, the studio will dock with Axiom Station, which is currently attached to the ISS. According to Axiom, the module will be able to support production, broadcasts, and live streaming for film, television, music, and sports projects. It will support production for live streaming for film, television, music, and sports projects. That pretty much covers the whole realm of entertainment. Adding a dedicated entertainment venue to Axiom's station, commercial capabilities in the form of SEE1 will expand the station's utility as a platform for global user base and highlight the range of opportunities the new space economy offers. Axiom president and CEO Michael Safrendini said in a statement, the Levinsky's UK studio confirmed to CNBC it is currently in production on the Tom Cruise led film, though it is not clear whether Cruise will wait for the debut of the studio to shoot. NASA previously granted Axiom a $141 million contract to attach its habitable module to the International Space Station. The company will eventually detach Axiom space station before the ISS retires, at which point it will become a free-flying space station. The company will eventually detach Axiom space station before the ISS retires, at which point it will become a free-flying space station. Okay, so we've heard that the ISS is going to retire, and now they're saying they're going to detach this Axiom station from the ISS, and then it'll be its own free-flying space station. Interesting. The Lesnevskys plans on producing their own content from the SEE1 module, but also said they plan to open up the habitable space station for use by other entertainment companies. Okay, so other companies can use this same space station movie studio. Well, there's a lot that they disclosed there that they're going to be fake doing. So basically, they're letting you know that Hollywood and space are going to be in bed together soon. It seems like that's what they're saying is Hollywood and outer space are going to be merged together and become one soon. So maybe eventually we'll get there where NASA starts to look like a movie. I mean, if they're going to be shooting movies in space, because it doesn't seem like it would make sense for the movie producers to dumb their shit down and make it look like NASA. So if Tom Cruise was to make this believable, let's talk about this for a minute. If Tom Cruise was to make this look believable, what he would need to do is show up and then meet the current crew or whoever the crew is at that time. He would need to meet him and be all like the same body mannerisms as them. So we would need to see footage of Tom Cruise showing up, and he would all be like, "Hey!" And he would give them hugs, give each one hugs, ah, and then he would have to like do all the same stupid shit that they do, right? So if we see Tom Cruise like, ah, I'm here on the space station, all right. Hi, how's it going, guys? I just met the crew. See, so if we see him go up there and meet the crew and give them hugs, and he's got that same unnatural body language, that'll be interesting if they take that route. Or are they going to sequester him and keep him separate? Like, oh yeah, Tom, when he showed up, he's over in his private studio in the Axiom studio department. He's not out here with the regular crew. So it's going to be interesting to see if this actually ever does happen. If they're going to sector Tom off and to where he doesn't interact with the actual crew, or whether they're going to have him show up and pretend to meet the crew and be all like, "Hey, how's it going? Hey, random Russian guy. Hey, random lady. Ah, you guys are in space. This is what space is like. Whoa, let me twirl an object. Whoa." Wonder if he's going to go through that whole bullshit or not. But I've been waiting for this for years, and so I thought that the date should be approaching, but apparently this might not happen for another couple more years. So this might be like that moon landing that's supposed to happen again soon, and they just keep pushing it back, or visiting Mars with humans, having humans walk on Mars, just keep pushing it back, keep pushing it back. So this Tom Cruise thing, I'm going to keep an eye on it. But that's the latest news that I know of, is that they're still planning on doing it, and that they're going to build this studio and attach it to, uh, or they're going to fly this studio module up and attach it to the ISS. All right, so that should be fun. Should be fun to break that shit down when it happens. All right, let me go back and read some comments that I probably missed. Greg J says no one ever talks about the Van Allen belts. Very curious. Yeah, they don't talk about those much anymore. The Van Allen belts that the 69 astronauts made it through. All the astronauts who made it through the Van Allen belt. The reason they made it, because they didn't know that the Van Allen belt existed back then. So they didn't know there was a deadly radiation belt back then. So it didn't affect them. Yeah. Apparently, if you don't know about it, then it doesn't affect you. But now, since they know about it, they've got to like figure out some new technology to get through that shit. Got a donation coming in. Says, I enjoy the critical thinking on your channel, Jake. I was hoping you could tell a story about yourself that changed your life in an unexpected way. Thanks, man. Hope you're doing well. um, well, there was this one time when I took a hit of a drug called dimethyltryptamine, or for short DMT, and I had an out of body experience, and I yelled and screamed and said a lot of stuff. And when I came out of it, the people that I was renting a room from were like, "We don't want you to live here anymore. Please leave." And so I was like, "Okay." And I had this van, and so I shoved my shit into a van, and I went out for a year in the van and lived out of a van for a year, and had an interesting year doing that. And so that was like a interesting change that kind of just happened. And then uh, someone stole the catalytic converter off the van, and then I suddenly had an abrupt end to the van life, and so now I'm back to renting a room again. But I had this year basically where I was out driving around in a van and parking in random spots and crashing out in the van, and definitely wasn't glamorous, but there were some upsides to it. You know, spending a week or two over by the beach, and cruising over to Reno, and never knowing exactly where I was going to be or what I was going to be doing exactly, and the exciting factor of just being able to drive your home wherever you want. So that was something that I wanted to try, and I did it, and I experienced it. Jenna told 69 says, Jake, you are our Lord and Savior. And then Faith says, Jenna, don't say that shit. It makes us look bad. It's okay. If she wants to worship me, she can. So that's her opinion. But when she says our and then she includes everybody, it's important to distinguish that, she might consider me her Lord and Savior, but that doesn't mean I'm everybody's Lord and Saviors. I'm just Jenna Toll 69's Lord and Savior, apparently. Thanks, Jenna. I appreciate that. All right. Thanks, NH, for the donation and the request for the story. Silent Walk says you did some good live streams from the van. Well, I usually just shoot the shit and tell it like it is from my heart, and then try and report on some current topics or important topics, in my opinion. And so I have my own way of doing things. If you notice, YouTube is basically turned into like cable television. There's basically just a bunch of reality television, and everyone's becoming, an editing master and guru, and all the small channels are getting squeezed out, and all these big channels are getting promoted. And when you look at their content, it's basically looking like a Netflix show or a cable television show. And so I try to keep my content at least somewhat like YouTube used to be, like classic YouTube, where you're actually listening to a person speak rather than the beast system try and sell you bullshit and push bullshit on you, rather than the same old scripted reality television. When you watch me, you're getting actual reality. Spider-Man says parking lot Wi-Fi. Hey, we had some decent luck with some of that. Speaking of, how has the stream been? Have I glitched at all on this stream, or have we been good? I bought a new Wi-Fi booster deal, and I paid $100 for it, for a good one. And so I bought this new Wi-Fi booster deal, and I'm hoping, fingers crossed, that I solved the issue. Has it been good? Because we have had some serious issues with glitchiness. And so far tonight, I haven't seen any of the shit that says that we're having connectivity issues or whatever. So we're looking good. All right, everyone says it's good. Awesome. So it looks like I solved that problem. I had several streams that went to shit with bad connectivity, and it seemed like at key moments when I was talking about key subjects, it was cutting in and out. And so I wasn't sure what exactly I should do. And so I bought this Wi-Fi booster. I'll show it to you. And I paid for the best one that they had at Target. And so hopefully this is doing the trick. All right. No glitches at all. Awesome. Awesome. All right, so that means tomorrow or so, or the next day, I'll stream over on the asshole channel again, and we'll try to have a clean stream over there. All right. So, what do you guys think about Tom Cruise going to space? Do you guys think he's going to meet the crew, or do you think they're going to sequester him off, and that we won't ever see him come face to face, or supposedly face to face, with the rest of the crew? Because we see the way that the rest of the crew acts, right? Anytime any new strange member shows up, they're like, "Hi, you're a spaceman. I'm a spaceman. Hugs. Oh, let's go upside down together. Whee!" So I wonder if they're going to go through that rigmarole to really, really try to make it look as realistic as possible, or if they're just going to be like, "Oh yeah, Tom Cruise is here, but he's over in his private studio and he's not to be disturbed." Uh, PJC Net says he will probably meet the crew as he apparently arrives, at least for the fake news. Uh, WPL says Cruz does his own stunts. They need him for the flip. Does his own stunts. How do you know? In my opinion, that doesn't even look like the same Tom Cruise as the old Tom Cruise. Like the original Tom Cruise, and then the guy they have playing the part now, to me, it looks like an imposter. That's just my opinion, is that they have a different dude playing Tom Cruise, or they have multiple look-alike Tom Cruises. And so the original guy that we know as Tom Cruise, he could be long gone, like the original Lassie or the original Flipper, and then you just replace him with a look-alike or imposter. So I wouldn't say that he for sure does his own stunts. Spider-Man says he was supposed to go back in 2021, but it's been delayed up until now. Yeah, of course, they always have a convenient delay. PJ CNet says Top Gun 2 out soon. It will probably be disappointing. Loads of people looking forward to it. Top Gun 2, I don't know. If I was to give my opinion, hold on. I'm about to give my opinion on Top Gun 2. Keep waiting. I'm going to give my opinion on Top Gun 2 really soon. Just keep waiting for me to give my opinion on Top Gun 2. It's going to be well worth it. I'm going to give my opinion on Top Gun 2. I feel the need for speed. Highway to the danger zone. Gonna take it riding to the danger zone. Kick the tires and light the fires. Highway to the danger zone. Right. This is last year's Halloween costume. There you go. Whew. It started to get really warm really fast. I don't do like an amazing Tom Cruise impression. I just slightly look like him if I wear his Top Gun jacket and sunglasses. All right. Music is Life says, hey, Jake, Mr. Chris 7582 is still blocked. Tom Cruise. Oh, shit. I was meaning to unblock you. Let me write that down. I wrote it down last time, I think, and then I forgot to do it. Let me write that down again. Mr. Chris is blocked over here. All right, I'll go through the list of offenders and unblock you. My bad, dude. I totally slipped on that. Thanks for the donation. I appreciate that, buddy. Rose Bellman says you were gone for too long, Jake. Well, you know, what do you mean gone? Like while I was putting on the Tom Cruise gimmick, or you mean taking a few days off in between streams? I take a few days in between streams to keep my sanity. I try and go out and enjoy my life and enjoy the world, and sometimes try and unplug from the internet, if you will. It's hard because of the type of stuff that I talk about and the uh, the YouTube channel that I created. I have to basically be plugged into the internet and constantly looking for shit to talk about if I want to like stay relevant and keep an audience engaged. And then there's a part of me that doesn't want to do that and doesn't want to like look up anything. It just wants to like go take Rusty for a walk and enjoy the outdoors, go hang out by the ocean, whatever. And so there are certain days I just keep to myself. And so, yeah, if you ever wonder like where I'm at for a day or two. And then I also mix my content between the two channels. So if you see me over on the channel, make sure to go check the Jake the Asshole channel. And if you don't see me on Jake the Asshole channel, come over here because I have the two channels. And the Asshole channel is shadow banned. And so a lot of times I'll post content over here on the backup channel in hopes of growing this one a little bit more. And I got a strike over on the other channel, so sometimes I can't post when videos get taken down. They give you a strike; they'll just not even let you post. Then I retreat over here to this channel. But anywho, all right, all right. I'm thinking it's time we take another quick hit, but I have to use the little boys' room real fast. One sec. All right, and I'm back. All right. Hopefully, you guys stuck around. Been on here for an hour and a half. Needed to take a quick bathroom break. All right. I made it as extra quick as possible. I didn't even wash my hands. All right. Are you okay with that? Are you okay with the fact that I didn't wash my hands? Sometimes I wash my hands and sometimes I don't. You know when I wash my hands? When I shit on them. And that's the only time I wash my hands. And that only happens 4 or 5 times a week tops. All right, there's a little classic George Carlin. I'm not going to take credit for George Carlin's joke. It's a George Carlin joke all the way. It's what I like to call a cover joke, where you tell a famous comedian's joke, but then you give him credit. You do a cover joke. It's like a cover song, but with a joke. RH says, never wash my hands, even on a number two. That's good to know, bro. Music is life with a $5 donation. Says you have to take days off. Paying too much attention to what has happened to the world will drive you insane. Yeah, my life is very interesting, and I'm blessed to have this weird life that I have. But at the same time, it is a weird life, and there's no way for me to like escape escape it or like make it less weird. It just is the way it is. And I would have to walk away from YouTube completely, stay away forever if I wanted my life to even kind of maybe go back to normal. But what is normal at this point? So, yeah, there's days where I don't care who you are, you should probably have days where you don't feel like doing whatever it is you're doing, even if you like your job, uh, enjoy your job. You should have days where you just don't feel like doing it. And there's days with YouTube, especially when I see the way they promote shill channels. They promote the bad guys, and then they bury the good guys. They demotivate you as a content creator. So from that aspect, it can be hard to stay motivated and be a good content creator and give everyone what they want when you're up against this machine that's censoring you and shadow banning you. And so anyway, Andy RB says you make me normal. Oh, well, I appreciate that. That's a nice compliment. That my insanity makes you normal. It's like one of those "you complete me" moments, right? Rose Bellman says, "Are you singing again for the elderly?" I haven't done a show lately. The last one that I had scheduled, uh, they actually had a C word breakout, the spiky ball disease. Someone tested positive, so it got canceled. And I haven't went and set up any. All my gigs were in my old hometown of Modesto, and I live uh, north of Modesto, around the Sacramento area now, and so I don't really live close to my old gigs anymore. So, and gas is super expensive, so I haven't been singing lately. But now that they've rolled back some of the restrictions, I could probably start looking for some new gigs. I was even thinking of heading out to Las Vegas to do like a mini vacation out there. Um, so I don't know if I have any subscribers in Las Vegas area, but I was thinking of doing a trip out there and staying for like a week or so, and maybe even setting up like a subscriber meetup. I don't know what kind of crazy people would show up, but or if anyone would show up. Let's see. Digger44 says, I appreciate your content. Keep it up. Hey, I appreciate that. Spider Man says, Jake, you probably qualify for SNAP benefits. Yeah, I probably qualify for a lot of stuff, but I don't do it. uh, D Morris says, I'd show up, Jake. I haven't been to the Vegas area in like 5 years, so I was thinking of doing a trip there uh, and seeing some of the new casinos. And during the week, the casinos are all pretty cheap to stay at, so it's not too expensive to stay in the rooms during the week. But then come the weekend, it gets expensive. So I was thinking of maybe going during the week, like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and then leave on a Saturday, something like that. Rose Bellman says I'd show up. Well, Rose, aren't you in like Reno? That's a long drive. Besides, I think you were supposed to hire me soon for a private event. So, all right. Silent Walks is my wife works in a nursing home in Ontario, and she said three. It's mandatory to keep her job. She said three, like three shots, or what? Is that what you mean? I know in Canada it's maybe a little more stiff than here in the states, but my job, like all my gigs, I had a bunch of gigs. I was doing like 30 shows a month back when I was singing full time, and then they all basically just vanished. Like there was like a handful that would let me come in and sing, and eventually even they were like starting to ask me if I have a VA double X card. So it was sad to see all those gigs go. But if I was to call around now, perhaps a few of them maybe would let me back. And there's also the option where I can make a fake Vax card because I don't think they're gonna like go through all the motions to like to check and see if it's legit. So making a fake SVAC card can get you a job, get you in the door. So I've even thought about that. Like if I really wanted to go sing some shows, I could print out some fake Vax card. But see, I don't want to have to go through the rigmarole of having to show that uh, and all that stuff. I just want to show up and sing. Rose says, I think Vegas is not safe. There's definitely areas that are not safe. So every big city has nice areas, and then there's areas that are not nice. And so there's areas on the strip where there's tons of people out walking, families, children, and you're pretty much going to be okay. But then if you like venture off the strip, at the one or two blocks, it changes in a hurry. So some bad areas would be like North Las Vegas, uh, around the Stratosphere is a bad area. But the Stratosphere itself, you can get cheap rooms, and inside the Stratosphere, you're going to be safe. So if you got a cheap room at the Strat and you're staying inside at the hotel in the casino, you're going to be fine. But you don't want to like go outside and then go outside behind the building and start walking around. So that's a tip that if you've never been to Vegas, there are some areas off the strip that within a block or two it gets rough real fast. So she is correct as far as there are areas of Vegas that are definitely rough and not safe. But if you're staying in the touristy areas, you're going to be safe for the most part. Like I said, it's also a pretty popular tourist season right now. So there's mobs of people out there right now. Silent Walk says, "Yeah, sorry, three shots, getting her fourth soon." Wow, yeah, that's tough. I remember a lot of people losing their jobs. I don't hear as much about it now, but I heard about a lot of people losing their job over it. So I don't know if these companies are now rolling back, their mandates and letting folks jump back on the same job that they got let go of or what. But I hear less about it. It's kind of like the boogeyman disease got put on the back burner for a while. I don't know if we're completely done with it yet. I think that's wishful thinking. They might just be giving us like a little summer vacation. But for right now, it looks like they've put the boogeyman disease, the spiky ball, on the back burner. All right. Martin Benjamin says, "Love you, Jake. Finally able to catch you live." Hey, what's going on, Martin? Thank you for the donation. I appreciate that. Of course, donations like that help to keep this whole thing afloat. And apparently, we're coming in crystal clear tonight. I bought a new Wi-Fi extender. We've been having some connectivity issues and internet issues, so hopefully we solve that issue. All right. Faith says my sisters are VA double X times four. It's awful. I don't understand how after one or two you don't feel like a fool. Like I remember the people who got their first one right before they were even talking about getting a second one. Before when they were just like, if you once you get this, then you don't even have to worry about wearing your muzzle anymore. You're basically back to normal. So a lot of people thought they get their shot, they go back to normal. But then they just were like, oh no, looks like you're going to need two. People didn't hesitate. They're just like, okay, whatever, need two. Whereas, like, you feel like there should be a lot of people who are like, hey, what happened with the one? They're like, oh, it mutated. So now you need two. Oh, okay. So you get the second one, and they're like, guess what? Bad news. You're gonna need a third shot because it like mutated again. Really? Again? Oh, all right. Wheel it out. Let's do it again. Right? And then they're like, here's the deal. We know that this probably isn't going to make a lot of people happy, but you're probably going to need four. Four? Yeah, four. Like, I mean, if you only got one, you're just like only going to be like a quarter of the way safe. If you want to be like fully up to date safe, you're going to need like four. All right. You talked me into it. Let's get the fourth one. Like how many people after one or two were like, no, screw you. I learned my lesson, not doing that. I wonder how many people they woke up with this whole like, you have to get another, you have to get another, you have to get another nonsense. Like I heard one guy bragging that he only got one. You know who that one guy like bragging about only getting one? All gas, no brakes. All gas, no brakes, or as he's called now, Channel 5 with Andrew or whatever. So that guy, that crater face, acne face chump, he was like, oh, yeah, I only got one. Yeah, I just got one though. Yeah, I didn't take it again. No, I only just got the first one. Oh, you wisened up after you took the first one? You're going to brag about it? That guy seems like a plant too, that all gas, no brakes, Andrew. Always showing up to make anyone protesting the government look stupid, while at the same time he promotes government psychological operations. He'll promote BLM, glorify BLM. That's as close as I came to being on a mainstream media channel, as being on all gas, no brakes. And the thing was, I didn't know who he was back then. That was before he like really blew up. So he only had like maybe 3, 4 videos up at the time, and he showed up to the Sacramento lockdown protest back in 2020, and he was this tall dude, this goofy looking dude, and he looked like he was with mainstream media. And he asked if I wanted to do an interview, and I was like, "Screw it, let's do it." And I was all fired up at the time because we had just got locked down for like a couple weeks, and everyone was going along with it. And this was like the first chance to do a protest. And I had never been to a protest with lots of people. And so I didn't realize like how controlled it was going to be. And Didn't realize who this guy was or how popular that video was going to be, but that was basically as close as I came to going viral. But of course, it went viral on his channel. He gets all the views. What are you guys talking about? You guys talking about someone else in the chat? Now I see the women in the chat talking about like somebody. Christian Sturzing says Jake is shaved. Indeed. Keeping it clean. Faith says, I know, he's looking young too. All right, I divulged my secret earlier, but I'm going to go ahead and do it again. The secret to looking this good is A, I eat raw meat. B, I drink raw eggs. C, I drink raw milk. Speaking of, all right, and then D, I dye my gray hair brown. Yep. So if I don't dye my gray hairs, then I would be all gray and shit. I'm not 100% gray, but I'm like half gray. So when I dye my gray hairs away, and then E, so it's, in my opinion, a combination of my dye and then hair dye and then shaving. All right. That's it, man. That's how I stay looking like this. Some of you guys are like, oh my God, you use hair dye? A. That's the only thing I do to myself to keep myself looking this young. That's because I don't want to look all gray. I don't actually wear any makeup or anything. All right, let's go ahead and take a hit. I got some good looking stuff. Ooh, yeah. All right, guys. Smash those thumbs up if you want to see me take it a hit of this Bolskishi. Smash those thumbs up. All right, you guys ready? All right, let's get it to 100. We're at 98 thumbs up. Get it to 100 thumbs up. All right, we got it. It says 101, 103. Oh. All right. Just 1111 says, do you think ODD fell in love with a woman who is actually a man? I heard that story. I heard ODD drove across the country to go be with this chick, and then when he got there, he found out it was a dude. I don't know. I don't know what happened. Here's the thing with ODD, and I've pointed this out. The guy has a channel with over 300,000 subs. That's a lot. and he doesn't do anything with his channel. And he was gone for all these months, and then he came back to do a stream with David Weiss, of all the people. He teams up with David Weiss to do this triple truth stream, which is absolute crap. It's like a bunch of rehashed flat Earth topics, and then they funnel over to Rockfin to try to get you to sign up for their Rockfin accounts. Uh, and then he just disappeared again. So he hasn't uploaded anything for like 2 months. Last time I checked. I could check this. Let me check right now and make sure. But the last time I looked, the dude hadn't uploaded anything in like a month. Yeah, hasn't uploaded nothing in 2 months. So my thing is, if you have a channel with 300,000 subs and you could be making videos and all sorts of different content and getting tons of views and making good money doing it, well, why the hell isn't he? That's what he used to do a long time ago. So ODD hasn't been ODD in a long time. ODD back in 2016 was putting out content on the regular, and it's nothing like what he's been doing lately. So that dude looks like he's maybe serving a jail sentence right now. If I had to guess, maybe he's in jail. Just a total guess. Or he had a fallout with David Weiss. Who knows? Music is Life says, I will be 40 in July, still no balding or gray hair. People tell me they think I am in my 20s. Raw meat, raw eggs, and hunting my own raw meat for over 10 years. It stops you from aging. Hey, good to know. And you can actually see I looked worse, visibly worse, 3 4 years ago when I wasn't eating that well and I wasn't feeling that well. uh, I was definitely looking a lot worse. My face, when I was thin, when my body weight was low, I was only like 125 130 pounds. My face was sunken in, and so I had these like lines on my face where my cheekbones were, and had these like more sunken in kind of eyes. And so when I go back and I watch my 2017, 18, uh, 19 era videos, I'll usually notice that I just don't look as good as I look now. So whenever I go back and watch my own stuff, I definitely notice that I look better now than I used to. It's just, it is not me saying that. Like people have confirmed that to me, that I look like I'm aging backwards. All right, so I am 38 years old. I see people uh, announcing their age in the chat. So I'm 38 years old. Faith says she's 41. Uh, Dustin Thomas M says, "Did you do crystal?" No, I never got into doing any sort of speed or cocaine or any sort of up your nose upper drug. Nope. I tried it once. I tried meth once, and then I've done coke a handful of times, uh, but not in a long time. So nope. And it's been a long time since I even tried that shit. So I was back, shit, I was probably a teenager. So contrary to popular belief, just because I can be wacky and zany and full of energy at times. No, I definitely wasn't high on meth. No, in 2017, 16, 17, 18, I was more into a plant-based diet, and I went through a bout of depression because my girlfriend at the time, she left, and then it was just a weird time. I wasn't making that good of money on YouTube, and not eating well. So I was buying crappy food, just not eating good. And so over the months, you'd just lose a couple pounds here or there. And so I went from being like 150 pounds down to like 120, just not eating enough calories and just being in a depressed mood, a depressed mind state. You'd be surprised that if you just hang out around your apartment feeling depressed and you don't feel up much like eating, and then maybe let's say you only eat like twice a day, and you just make yourself like some little crap, some microwave crap, or some vegan fucking crap, salad or something. You know, you can fill yourself up for the time being, but you don't actually like sustain yourself and nourish yourself. So basically, I wasn't eating enough protein and animal fat, and I wasn't getting any sort of raw meat or raw animal fat at all. Wasn't drinking any raw milk at the time, no raw eggs. Uh, and I was going through depression. And so, if you put all that aside, I was still pumping out content. And some would say that's my best content that I ever made. And I would probably say, when I go back and watch, if you put aside the way I look, the content was really good back then. I was really fired up and into it. And there's a lot of eras with the flat earth asshole, you know, the era where I was just debunking globers, and then an era where I debunked the AE map and I was the bad guy and received a bunch of backlash. And there was a time where I walked away and quit, then came back to talk about the boogeyman disease, right? In the shot and all that stuff. And now we're basically going into this new era where we're talking about some of the same old stuff, but we're getting out of the boogeyman disease, heading into the next direction. And I'm kind of confused on what exactly I want to do with the channel and myself. And so that's basically the brief history if you want to just break it down into chunks. Faith says, back in the day, you was so fired, Jake. You know, I I would like to recreate that energy again. The problem is like you can't just like recreate it the same way. It's like the times have changed, you know? People were a lot more fired up about the flat earth subject because they just figured out that earth wasn't a globe. And so for that first year, year and a half, 2 years, let's say you're super fired up about the subject. But then after a while, life goes on, and then you see all the shills take over, gatekeep it, to where shit, after all these years, if I was to like make like a Jake versus Professor Dave video, or Jake versus Simon Dan part two, you know, you might get a little nostalgia kick out of it, but it's not going to ever be quite like it was. It's kind of like asking Sylvester Stallone to go back and make Rocky again, or ask Arnold Schwarzenegger to go back and make another Terminator again. It's hard to recreate that magic from when you first do something. And it's like that with everything. Like your favorite bands typically will make their best stuff, you know, right out of the gate. Their first few albums are usually the best. Gun Puppy said Flat Earth had momentum in 2016, but it didn't last long. Yeah, it rolled out on purpose and definitely picked up steam, but it was some manufactured steam. And then they made fun of it, ran it through the ringer. Every single science related YouTube channel made tons of videos trolling it. Jimmy Fallon and the late night guys, they trolled it. Then you have your celebrities who pretended to be flat earthers for like a day. Uh, to where now the subject is just almost unrecognizable. And so I wonder, like, how can I go back and recreate a Jake the asshole, flat Earth asshole versus video when I don't even actually know the real shape of this place. See, if I'm being honest with myself, I don't really know the actual shape of this place. Whereas back in the day, I used to use the AE Frisbee map, the UN logo, and it was like a globe versus UN logo kind of thing. So there was always this basis for comparison, a globe and then a UN logo. So now that I don't use the pizza pie map and I don't have a model that I subscribe to, I don't know for sure what shape this place is for sure, or even if it has a shape. It's harder to have this battle when I don't have a model to show or anything. So whenever these debunkers are debunking the pizza pie map, I'm more like, well, shit, the pizza pie map does suck. You're right. That flat Earth map is wrong. Where's your map? I don't have one. See, so it used to be that I was on board with the pizza pie map, so there was this very clear uh, comparison between the two. Mess One says 311 taught me to rap. That's cool. I used to listen to those guys a lot. I still rock 311 once in a while. Although I did watch a live show of theirs on YouTube, and it looks like they're not really having fun doing their shit anymore. It looks like when they're up there now, they're just kind of going through the motions. All right. Okay. Who wants to see Rusty get a bone? Just 1111 says, "Do you have a hard time affording California?" Yes and no. So I try to keep my expenses low. Try to keep uh my bills low, basically. And so I try not to spend too much money in order to afford the lifestyle. And so I'm able to sneak by. I'm able to make it work. But yeah, it is, and it depends what area you live in. So the closer you get to the ocean, the more expensive it is. The closer you are to Los Angeles, Beverly Hills, Hollywood, the more expensive it'll get as well. And then in the middle of the state, where it's not pretty and the crops are grown, where all the Mexicans are, oh well, it's cheaper there. So you can actually find affordable rent in the middle of California. So when you look at California, you have to remember it's like 5 different states all rolled into one. And so it's not like one thing; it's like 5, 6 different things that are presented as one thing. And so in the middle of California, where all the food is grown and all the Mexicans are, and the land is flat and the towns are shitty, you can still rent a room for 5, 6, 700 bucks. But then once you get over into San Francisco, let's say, or Los Angeles, well, now that same size room or smaller can be $2,000 just to rent room barely bigger than a closet. PJC Net with a donation says, thanks for cheering me up tonight. Oh, you're welcome, buddy. You know, I've been meaning to go live, and I've been a little down and out about going live because my streams have been glitchy and shitty, and I don't want people to have a bad internet experience with me. And so I was looking for a way to fix the problem, and it looks like this internet booster deal that I bought fixed it. So fingers crossed it stays working good, and we can keep doing good streams. And my next plan, and I've been saying this for a while, but I need to actually do it, is to upgrade the whole stream in general. So that's still coming soon. I'm going to upgrade the whole stream so that I can bring on guests and do the OBS shit. Slowly but surely, I'm going to get it all fixed and running. Thank you, PJCNet, for the donation, bro. All right. Who wants to see Rusty get this bone? Rusty, get a bone? Get a bone, dog? Get a bone, wolf? You want this bone, wolf? Who wants to see Rusty get a bone? Come on. Come on. Good boy. Good boy. He wants this. Do you want this a bone, Rusty? Does Rusty wants this a bone? Does Rusty wants this a bone? Ah, Rusty eats as a bone. Now he won't know what to do with it. He's like, I need to go lay down so I can eat this. Good boy, Roosty. You're a good dog. That should keep him busy for a while. There you go. That's the thing. When you're eating raw meat, like let's say a New York steak or a T-bone, and you got the bone in there, beef bones, dogs can totally chew on them. They don't fracture up like a chicken bone. And see, now that he's looking at his bone, he's not paying attention. See, I can eat some too. Jess 111111111 says, "What do you think of Tartaria?" Good question. Okay, so do I think it's possible that at some point a mud flood comes along and wipes out history, and then we start back over again, so to speak, but then some of the buildings are still stuck out of the mud? I think it is possible, and there's some interesting evidence out there. However, it does seem like kind of one of these like popular conspiracy theories that picked up like some trendiness, like Mandela effect, flat Earth, what have you. And I almost feel like it's a bit controlled as far as it seems like it was also wheeled out the same way. So when it comes to history, I just don't know. And and I feel like when it comes to history, it's just like anything's possible. You know, anything's possible except for the spinning globe story in evolution that they told us. But outside of that, damn near anything's possible. And so I don't like to jump on board with just one story or another when everything we know about in history is lied about in one form or another. So everything from the pyramids to the Sphinx to Stonehenge, uh, every historical landmark, dinosaur tracks, dinosaur bones, all this stuff is lied about to the point where it's hard for me to make heads or tails of any point in history when you go back too far before I was born. So since I've been born, I've seen a whole lot of fakery and shenanigans. So I can only imagine the shit that they pulled off long before I was born. So when I look at the Tartaria stuff, I find it interesting, kind of up there with the giant tree stumps and stuff. But I don't go full blown tartard and uh, and say that it's absolute truth and that there definitely was these mud floods and history got wiped out. Uh, can't say that for sure. However, there is some interesting evidence that I have looked at, but I'm not compelled to like turn my channel into like mud tard channel because uh, I'm just not sure. Wild Star Tunes says, "What do you think about furries? Any thoughts?" Furries. I have to look up what you mean. The furry random is a subculture interested in anthropomorphic animal characteristics with human personalities and characteristics. Oh, oh, those type of people that wear costumes and stuff. Eh, like fucking Trekkie. I guess they're no worse than Trekkies, right? I mean, if you dress up like Star Trek and then wait like in a 3 hour line to meet a Star Trek cast member at a Comic Con convention or whatever, to me it's just as retarded. It's just as stupid. So I don't know. People are bored. You see, there's a lot of people and they're bored and they're looking for something to do, and people looking for a group to accept them and belong to. And so perhaps somebody who's like ugly and fat and gross can like put on a animal mask and live in this furry animal fantasy world and fulfill all these things that they want and need that they don't get fulfilled in their everyday life. I don't know. I don't do it. But yeah, my thing lately is I'm so damn skeptical that I don't know how to find enjoyment in damn near anything anymore because I'm like so skeptical all the time. And so even when I go on vacation, it's like, yeah, I knew it was gonna be like this. Yeah, it's not as good as I was hoping. It's like it's hard to get to the to 10. It's like uh once your baseline, once you get to 10 a few times in life and you have this awesome fun experience, it's hard to keep repeating that, it seems. And then you get to a point in life where your baseline is like, eh, everything's just kind of whatever, you know? And so it's hard for me now to like, I don't know, really find that enjoyment in any certain thing, any sort of activity. Every activity just kind of sounds like, meh, I guess, maybe. Like if somebody's like, "Hey, you want to go windsurfing?" I'm like, I don't know, maybe. I do I have to buy a suit? I don't know. How much does it cost? Like, there's nothing. Somebody's like, "Hey, you want to go skydiving?" I'm like, "Yeah, I did that once when I was a teenager. I don't know." Yeah, it's like everything's just kind of, yeah. Like I can go to the ocean and it'll be beautiful and fantastic, and I'll be walking along and I'll be enjoying it. But then after like an hour or two, I'm like, all right, now what? Yeah, it's nice, but yeah. Should I go eat a nice meal at this restaurant? And then you go to this restaurant and you pay all for this fancy food, and it's like, well, it's not as good as I remember it being years ago. But yeah, everything's just so meh. You watch that new movie everyone's talking about, and it's not even that good. It's just meh. It's just whatever. If that makes any sense, everything seems like that to me nowadays. At best, everything's just kind of like or it sucks ass and pisses me off. Andy RB says, "I know what you mean." Uh, let's see. Music is life says cooked meat is still better than all the other foods you can eat, just not quite as good raw. And cooked meat, if you season it up, it tastes good. Like if I take the time to like go barbecue this piece of meat right here, it'll still be tasty. If I put some sea salt and some black pepper and then go throw it on the charcoal grill and get those grill lines, it's still gonna taste good. But it's going to also destroy a lot of the nutritional content. And so, as much as I like barbecue, and as much as I like cooked meat, I make sure to multiple times a month eat at least one big fat steak at least a month, preferably two or three. Get some big steaks in there with some good marbling of some fat, and get that good raw protein in your body, especially the fat. See, you can even just cut it into little tiny pieces and just eat little bits at a time. Whatever you got to do to get it in your system. It's like the raw animal fat, what people don't realize is like your body will assimilate that and start using it immediately. Like the acids in your stomach know exactly what to do with raw fat. Whereas when it's cooked, it actually takes longer to digest and break down the protein and the fat. So this hunk of fat, if you were to just like chop it up into little pieces and then just eat it raw, your body will get to work immediately at breaking that down, and the acids in your stomach will have that broken down in no time and start assimilating it throughout your body. Whereas when you cook meat, you start destroying the protein structures, and then it actually will sit heavier on your stomach. You'll actually feel more full when you cook the meat, and it'll take longer to digest. So oftentimes people will feel tired after eating a big portion of cooked meat, and I've felt that way too. Feel a little logged down, tired after you eat a bunch of cooked meat. Whereas if you eat a slab of raw meat, it doesn't feel as heavy on your system. You barely even notice it. So that's some of the difference in comparison that you'll notice right away. Music is life says try raw salmon. Oh, I've tried sushi many times. So I've had raw salmon on top of sushi rolls a bunch of times. Uh, let's see what else. There's all types of different fish that I've had because I've tried so many different sushi rolls, and so I'm sure I've had. several different cuts of raw fish as far as the sushi goes. But you don't want that farm salmon. So a lot of times I don't like to order salmon in a restaurant because it's usually always just farmed. And so you rarely see wild caught salmon. And if you do, it's you're going to pay for it. It's expensive. So farm salmon, what they do is they have these salmon in these canal tanks basically, and they feed them these corn pellets and grow them really big in a controlled tank. Uh, and they don't have any natural predators or anything, so they can just get really big and fat. They just feed them, like I said, these like corn pellets, and then they dye the meat pink, so it's like this unnatural process uh, where you end up with this big giant fish, and then they dye the meat in this color to make your brain think that that's salmon, like that's how a salmon's supposed to look. So farm salmon is definitely not the best. I mean, it's better than going vegan, of course. I mean, if it's that or death, then you eat it. But I oftentimes stray away from the farm salmon at restaurants. I've caught Dungeness crabs and steamed those. So as far as like from the ocean, I've caught my own uh, dungy crabs. So those were tasty. They weren't as good as the king crabs, but they don't have king crabs where I live. So where I live, 2 hours from where I live, over at the coast for like 6 months, 7 months out of the year, you can uh, fish for the crabs in certain areas, the Dungeness crabs and the rock crabs, and those are tasty. You just basically just steam them live, but you feel sorry for the little guy when you like put them in the steamer. They're like, no, and you're like, good night, chunk. Philip Bacchus says rock lobster. I like lobster. It's good, but it's expensive. They have this deal in Reno at the Calneva, which is this like dive casino. This dive casino where they serve $12 steak and lobster. It used to be $9.99, but now it's like 11.99. 11.99 steak and lobster at the Calneva. It's like the last lobster deal that you can get for that cheap, but it's a tiny tail. It's teeny, but you get what you pay for. Jess 1111111 with a donation says, "Do you think the planes on September that one day were CGI?" Yes, I do. There's that one clip where the wing goes behind one of the buildings, the CGI layering glitch. That pretty much did it for me. And then when you slow it down frame by frame as it's entering the building and starts to explode, it just doesn't look authentic to me. So I would say yes. I'm a no floors, buildings built for demo guy. No floors, no, or not. Not all the floors were legit. Like a lot of the floors on the building were
Basically, they're just to be collapsed. So it's like the building was not built for full function, but to be collapsed, and no planes. Angelo Zapp with a donation. No message, just a donation. Thanks very much. I appreciate that, buddy. We got Rusty down here munching on his bone. You do pretty good, Rusty. Whoa, look at that. He cleaned it up. Cleaned it up so far. All right, so what I usually do is just cut little pieces. I like thin strips as opposed to like cubes. See? So it's like little strips. Music is life says we have a few lobster traps we put out at our beach house on the Cape Cod in the summer. I bet that's awesome. Catch some lobster. Hell yeah. No, I do the crab snaring for the Dungeness crab. You throw the crab snare traps out there, and it snares. And then when you pull up on them, it snares their crab arms. So I don't have the big, huge trap that they get stuck in. Only thing is sometimes these little pieces of fat or can get stringy and get stuck in your teeth. So you might want to floss afterwards. Christian Sturzing says, "Are you still doing slots?" Yes, I still do. And that's also why I was wanting to go to Vegas. Was I wanted to check out the slot scene in Vegas, and I haven't been in like 5 years. And back then, I didn't know how to play the machines, and a lot of the machines I play now didn't exist back then. So yeah, I want to go back to Vegas and hit some slots up. Of course, I only play advantage style machines. So that means I walk around a lot and I check a lot of machines and I don't play a lot. Chewy Chicken says there's so many slots you won't know where to begin. That's that lady, the old lady from the Beavis and Butthead movie, right? Oh, there's so many slots. You won't know where to begin. Hey, Butthead, this chick says there's lots of slots in Las Vegas. Yeah, we're going to score. We're going to score with the slots in Las Vegas. Oh, yeah. There's so many slots, young man. You're going to have so much fun. Chewy Chicken says, I knew you'd get it. I did, bro. Anything Beavis and Butthead did back in the day, I watched it. Jenna Lovecraft Reeves says, I own that movie. That was a classic. You know, they could have definitely pulled off a stinker or something underwhelming, but they went all out, and gotta say, for a full length movie, they delivered. I'm hearing they're going to do another movie, that they're going to bring back the boys to do another movie, but the problem is the longer and longer you wait, the harder it is to do. And the last time they brought them back to MTV didn't go so well. Like they were still funny, but nobody cared. Settle down, Beavis. No way! It's like we're never gonna score. It's like I want to score. Beavis, if you don't settle down, I'm gonna kick your ass. No way, butthead. No way. It's like we're never gonna score. Chewy Chicken says they're bringing back King of the Hill too. I don't know if they need to bring back King of the Hill. It had a really long run. I don't know why they would need to bring that back. Bobby, let me tell you what, Bobby. I'm gonna go sell me some propane. Dad, I'm like still a fat little gay boy. Bobby, damn it. I need to get back to work selling propane. I don't know. To me it ran its course. There was a few seasons where that show was actually watchable, but that was a long time ago. Are we awake? John Alvino says Jake is by far the best impressionist I've ever heard. Oh, thank you. You know, I do feel like I've kind of been coming into my own lately with impressions. Like when I was younger, I would mock and imitate people and stuff, but I feel like now there's certain characters who I can really like channel their energy and just totally like do a better version of them than they are. It's like, and I commonly get that as a compliment that I do a better version of Richie than Richie, or I do a better version of whoever it is than the actual person. Jess 1111111 says, "Do you think Alex Jones is Bill Hicks?" I'm kind of 50-50 on that one. Like a part of me thinks yes, but then a part of me thinks that maybe the height doesn't quite match up, and maybe they're trying to purposely throw us off by making us think that those two guys are the same. So I'm kind of coin flip on that one now. There was a time where I was sold on it, and now I'm kind of backing off on it. Like I'm not as sold. Like some people like I saw were like, I don't know, the height doesn't match, and I don't know. So I can't say 100% for sure. I know that's not an exciting answer, that I'm like kind of at a coin flip with that one. Faith says, "Can you do some Rush?" Can I do some Rush? Can I do some Rush? Well, I don't know any Geddy Lee bass lines, so I haven't ever like practiced Rush bass lines. So I'm not going to sit here and try and play a Rush song as a solo bassist. But I could maybe sing a line or two or something. living in the limelight. Let me try that again. Living in the limelight, the universal dream for those who wish to see. Those who wish to see must put aside the emulation. Get on with the fascination, the real relation, the undenying dream. Something like that. And if I got a few of the words wrong, I apologize. I'm like live on the spot, and I don't know every single Rush lyric. I'm gonna like sing the instrumental parts that I like to Rush. Do 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 do. No, his mind is not for rent. Do 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 down to any god of government. Always hope for your point of content. The changes are permanent. You can choose a ready guide in some celestial voice, but if you choose not to decide, you still have made a choice. Yeah, I'm just remembering like some of the little lyrical parts that I can think of off the top of my head. I don't have any like music downloaded ready to go for karaoke or whatever, but I like Rush. Rush is cool. Although Getty can't quite sing his own stuff anymore, I hear. Uh, he struggles to sing his old songs. And then with Neil Peart not being alive anymore, it's not quite the same old Rush if you were to go see him now, if they still play. Rose Beltman says, do you mostly play rock? Well, I sing mostly rock tunes, but I have a plethora of different tunes that I sing, as far as like from the 50s all the way through the 90s up to like 2000. So from the 50s up till around 2000, I know most all popular rock and roll songs, or I can learn them, or have sang something like that at one point or another. So, and then there's a lot of pop and my old 50s and 60s stuff. I do some like love songs and some Motown, like Elvis, and old pop stuff like Elvis and stuff. It could be considered rock and roll, but by now you'd maybe consider it more pop. But I do a whole bunch of different artists because I used to do a cover band where we did 70s and 80s rock and roll in the bars. And then I did, we can turn this off. Then I did the elderly homes where I did 50s and 60s tunes, all sorts of different tunes, rock tunes, love songs, Motown, all that stuff. So, and then I got into, when I was just a teenager, I got into 90s grunge rock and stuff. I was just a fan. So I can sing all that stuff pretty well. Rose asks if I can play anything on the bass. I can play something on the bass. Are you asking if I know how to play anything in the world on a bass? Or are you asking me to play now? Okay, maybe I'll slap a little something for a minute. All right. Where the hell did my hat go? Oh. All right.
All right. Whew. Still getting used to playing this brand new bass here. Got the wah hooked up today. The wah with the battery hanging out. There you go. People have been asking for the wah. That's how you get that extra funky porno-y kind of sound going on if you want to slap that funky bass. All right. Oh, thank you. Faith says, really loving the new bass. Yeah, I'm starting to get used to it. Whenever you pick up a new instrument, it feels a little different than the one you're used to playing. It throws you off a bit. So I starting to get used to the new bass. Starting to figure out my sound that I want to do with it. It's another thing when you pick up a new instrument, it can sound different than the last one you had, and you're playing the same notes. It just sounds different because it's different wood and different materials, different pickups, yada yada. And so, whenever you pick up a new instrument, you'd be surprised that it might take you a couple weeks to really get it dialed in and figure out what kind of sound you even want to make with the damn thing. And then the more knobs you have, and the more levers and buttons, of course, there's more stuff to screw around with. So, still trying to figure out exactly what my sound is with this new bass, but it's getting there. Steve Paulus says Les Claypool is a sellout now. What did he do? I mean, most all these guys at the top in showbiz are sellouts, but what did Claypool do? Did he like promote the VA double X? Is that it? Or did he promote a politician or something? If he did something recently, I must have missed it. But yeah, a lot of people I used to look up to turned out to be quote unquote sellouts, or they just do what they're told as far as being a puppet. They don't actually stand for any real causes. I think it's funny the way they're trying to prop Kid Rock up there, his old ass, like he's like the voice of reason. Kid Rock tells it like it is. He says, fuck Joe Biden. I like that guy. It's like, yeah, he's still a sellout sitting there with Tucker Carlson. Still pushing the right-left agenda. And his last song that he did sucked. I used to like Kid Rock when I was a teenager. Bar with the bar, bang a dang diggy with the diggy and a boogie and a up jump a boogie. Bar with a bar and a bang dang diggy and a biggie and a boogie and a up jump the boogie. My name is Kid Rock. bar with the bar, bang a dang diggy to the boogie, and a up jump the boogie. Yeah. On the real though, I used to love that song. And this is for the questions that don't have any answers. The midnight glances and the topless dancers. Band of freaks, cars packed with speakers. The G's with the 40s and the chicks with beepers. The northern lights and the southern comfort. And it don't even matter if your veins are punctured. All the crackheads, the critics, the cynics, and all my heroes in the methadone clinic. Oh my God, did I just do a Kid Rock rap? Holy shit. I'm canceled. I'm canceled. That's it. RH says, play that funky music, white boy. Well, first it wasn't easy changing rock and roll in minds. Things was getting shaky. I thought I'd have to leave it behind. But still I'll keep on fighting, losing every step of the way. I said I must go back now, check and see if things are the same. When they were dancing and singing and moving to the grooving, and just when it hit me, somebody turned around and shouted, play that funky music, white boy. Say what? Play that funky music, right? See what you done started? That was a fun one to sing. See, a song like Play That Funky Music still stands the test of time, to where if you play that and people are good and drunk and ready to dance, that song will definitely get them dancing. So I've done that one with my old cover band, and usually got folks up and dancing. Rose Bellman with a donation says, do you know the bass in Pill This Is Not a Love Song? I'm not sure what song you're talking about, actually. I appreciate the donation, but I'm actually not sure what song you're talking about. A Song Whisperer says, your voice reminds me of Temple of the Dog. You would crush any one of those songs. Oh, well, I like all the grunge era singers, so that fits basically in my lower register naturally. So those guys are pretty easy to sing for me. Temple of the Dog. That was a good collage of musicians there. What was that hit song they did? I'm going hungry, hey, I don't mind stealing bread from the mouths of decadence. I'm going hungry. Oh, now I've got a bunch of people coming in with requests. Sing this, sing that. Steve Paulus says, can you sing Alice in Chains? Ain't found no way to kill me yet. Eyes burn with sting and sweat. Seems every path leads me to nowhere. Ooh. Wife and kids, household pet. My buddy's breathing his dying breath. Oh, yes, and pictures of my boy. Here they come to snuff the rooster. Oh, yeah. Here comes a rooster. Yeah, yeah. You know he ain't gonna die. All right. You know he ain't gonna die. See, the thing is, if I was to click one karaoke version, it will demonetize the whole stream. And then every little bit of ad revenue that I might dream of making will all go to someone else. In fact, I might have already sang the damn songs too close and I'm probably screwed as it is. Steve Paulus, now he's just naming off all the Seattle grunge era bands. STP as well. Yeah, I used to love STP. I still like STP, but without Scott Weiland, the band's not the same. See, these grunge bands, once they lose their lead singer and then they keep touring with some new guy, it's kind of hard to like go watch and get excited. Like you can go watch Alice in Chains and STP out on tour, but without their original singers, I just can't quite get into it. Other bands can lose members and still I can go watch and it's okay. But I can't find myself paying for a STP ticket now without Scott Weiland, or going to watch the version of Alice in Chains now with that Indian dude. Music is Life says Blue Oyster Cult. That's my favorite band, and I have front row tickets for a show in July, and then they're doing a free show in Reno, so I'm definitely going to catch them in Reno. So in July, I'm going to catch them twice. I'm going to catch them in Northern California. Got a front row ticket, yeah, and then Reno. I'm going to try to get there early for the free show so I can get up front. Philip Bacchus is more cowbell. Gotta have that cowbell. And that skit was a long time ago. Long time ago. It's hard to believe how many years have passed by since that skit. But there was a time when people were showing up to the BOC shows with their own cowbells, and they were banging the cowbells, even in songs that didn't have cowbell. And it was starting to piss off the guys in the band. So luckily, people stopped doing that. That had to be one of the most hilarious Saturday Night Live skits of all time. Almost ruined by Jimmy Fallon laughing during the skit. Couldn't control himself from laughing. But other than that, that's definitely one of the top Saturday Night Live skits of all time. The thing about Blue Oyster Cult is they have their main hits on the radio, but as far as mainstream success, they never like blew up super mega huge. And so if you go watch them today, you can go watch them at the state fair. You can go watch them play in a venue of 200, 300 people, whatever, and you can get a good seat right up front, and you can see one of the greatest guitarists of all time, Buck Dharma. And you can see the two founding members still up there on stage in their 70s. Buck Dharma, Eric Bloom, the two founding members, still up there in their 70s, still playing. And they still put on a good show. And so I would recommend, if you haven't seen BOC, you get out there and check them out
and they're always on tour. They just keep touring. They're going to tour until they're dead, and they play all over the country, and they go over to Europe as well. So they're heading over to Europe to do a tour in fall. So if you're one of my European listeners and you've never got to see BOC live, this might be one of your last chance when they come over to Europe. You want to check them out. Over here in the United States, they play all the time, and so I've seen them 18 times. 18 times. You know how many times I've seen any other band? Not more than like 2 or 3 times. So I usually don't watch a band that many times, but I have been to see Blue Oyster Cult play 18 times. Music is Life says, I can't wait till they come back to Massachusetts again. Yeah, they tour over on the East a lot because they're from New York, so they do a lot of shows over there in the East Coast. But they come over here a lot too, so I catch them every year, usually 2 or 3 times. Philip Baca says, Ozzy sucked live, just saying, Dokken rocked. Well, I heard Dokken used to be good, but the Dokken now isn't that good anymore. And Ozzy, I have heard mixed results. Of course, if you got to see him back in the Randy Rhoads days, then you could just sit there and stare at Randy Rhoads play. Steve Paulus says King's X with a question mark. I saw King's X back in like 2000. So like 22 years ago, I saw King's X. Haven't seen him since, but that's a band that only hardcore rock fans know about. You have to be like a hardcore live rock fan to know about King's X. Okay, guys, I think I'm about time to wrap it up here. I've been on for 3 hours, and now we're just talking about bands we like. We did cover a lot of ground with the International Space Station and stuff, though. So we did cover the topics that I wanted to cover, and then did some jamming on the bass. And now we're just basically naming off cool bands. So I guess it's about time for me to wrap it up here, and I'll let you guys get on with your Saturday night. But it looks like we made it through the stream without any technical difficulties or any connectivity interruptions. So the booster that I bought, not booster shot, but as far Wi-Fi booster that I bought, looks like it's doing its job. So that's good. Awesome. So it looks like we're going to be streaming Clean Demon. All right. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and get off here and take Rusty out, and I will catch you guys over on the A-Hole channel. Maybe tomorrow I'll do another stream, or I'll upload a video. Maybe I'll make a video about Tom Cruise and upload it. So anyway, make sure you're subbed to both the channels, and then make sure you're also subbed to my BitChute channel. I post stuff over there as well. And I'll catch you guys next time. Thanks for everyone for being here, chatting up with me. Thanks for all the donations. Thanks for everyone who is in chat. If I didn't read your message, I go back and watch the replay afterwards, and so I will eventually see everyone's message. So if you typed something, I'll eventually see it. So hopefully you enjoyed it as much as I did, and I'll catch you guys next time. Y'all have a wonderful evening, wonderful weekend, wherever you are, whenever you are. Take care. Peace.